Welcome to Health, Wellbeing and Lifestyle. My name is Angela Anesi, your new co-host. This is the show where we invite professionals to inspire, inform and educate our guests on how to live a healthier, more balanced and a lifestyle that they love. Today on the show, I'm speaking with Dr. Zara Celik. She's an integrative health practitioner and wellness expert. Dr. Zara is going to be joining us here for a series of interviews. Now today, we're going to be talking about self-care and exactly how it can super boost your health. Hello, Dr. Zara. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, please tell us exactly what self-care is and really how it can benefit our lives.
Sure. So I just want to first of all start with saying, there's this whole understanding, because self-care is such a new concept globally. Many people around the globe associate self-care with having a bath on a Sunday or once in a blue moon, or getting nails done, or a bit of skincare, or getting a massage. But I want to let people know it is more than that. It must be practiced consistently, holistically, at a multi-dimensional level to create the energy, to create vitality from within. So we have that consistent energy to bloom within. So we have that vitality to thrive geometrically in all areas of our lives. So self-care could be as simple as being aware of what we're thinking, our perceptions, the language that we use with ourselves, and also with our loved ones or in our workspace or people around us. It could be, yes, take care of the body, which is excellent, but I believe and I think the mind is a big one, especially when we're holding on to resentment, or when we're resenting somebody, or when we are infatuated with someone or people that we actually follow or we watch or we consume. The other thing is if we have trauma, or there's some grief going on, or there's past experiences, and there's that whole association pattern happening in the mind. So I find that's a big one that people should be aware and to actually work on that. And usually with the self-care in my practice, it is the foundation to health and well-being. That's where I normally begin, because when the foundation is worked on, everything else just falls into perspective. So just even as simple as being responsible to inspire ourselves is also a form of self-care. So self-care is multidimensional. We have the mind, we have the body, we have the spirituality, we have the environment, so nutrition, and then you can see, just basic different areas, and there's more, of course, but I just want to talk about just the basics. Even a home environment, cooking, they're all form of self-care. Being in nature, working on that spiritual aspect is a form of self-care. But we must work on every single area consistently. Consistency is the key here as well. So all these areas of self-care, I want people to really be aware of those. There are different elements. Self-care is multidimensional, and that we must practice self-care at those different levels, but consistently every single day. So not on a Sunday having a bath, or having this whole Wednesday wellness happening. So we will sort of try to remember that, self-care is important. I want people to really know and understand that from the moment that you get up to the moment that you sleep, or even your rituals around your sleep pattern, your living space, your bedroom, people must be aware of those constantly and consistently to have a sustainable outcome. So it is part of us, it's in us. So it's all happening for us. So when we wake up, having rituals, and again, even with self-care, the other thing I talk about, that we are all bi-individual, and not one form of self-care fits everyone. So that's why I encourage people to have rituals, to develop rituals, and see what serves their own bi-individuality and bi-individual needs. Because once we know what serves us and we practice them consistently, it becomes a habit. It is there, just like us waking up in the morning, brushing our teeth, getting ready to go to work, or doing things, part of the day, tasks. So it's it becomes a habit. So even about how we think in the morning, what we do, whether you meditate, whether there must be a ritual from waking up to how you're thinking, how you're perceiving, gratitude, setting intentions. These are all form of a part of self-care, and it must be practiced consistently. So for example, doing practicing gratitude every night, setting intention for for the next day, or thinking about what the week is looking like, having some visuals, some intentions around that is incredibly powerful, and it really sets us up for the whole week, for the day. So then it actually becomes naturally becomes part of us, and we start doing that naturally. So then it will help with taking the stress away. It will help us to be more grounded, to be more centered, to be more authentic. So we are, we are balanced within. We have homeostasis within. We have equilibrium within, equanimity within. So when we practice self-care consistently, we become that authentic individual, the authentic person that we are.
Okay, Zara, so can you give our viewers at home any tips on how they can integrate these practices into their daily lives?
Sure. So first of all, I would like people to become more aware of their thought process, the language that they use and the perceptions that they have, and that it is important to take care of the physical body internally and externally, and to be aware of their environment and see what's happening in the physical space, and also with the people in their space, and also nutrition. That's a big one.
Thank you so much, Zara. Now, Dr. Zara will be joining us on the show next time to speak about gut health. If you would like to know more about Dr. Zara and how to supercharge your life, then please head on over to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. So now we will cut to a break. Coming up next, we will have another guest and another interesting topic.
Welcome back, and our next guest is Helen Mack, back with us in the series of optimizing outcomes, and today she's talking about creating clarity. So clarity, Helen, that's a really interesting one. Can you tell us a bit more about that? I'm sure everybody would love to have clarity in life.
It's difficult, isn't it, Linda? I think sometimes we all feel like we're wandering around in a haze trying to work out where we're going to end up. So creating clarity is obviously a key piece of optimising outcomes. And I love the clarity piece because it has such power. There's real power in getting clear about your goals, your expectations of yourself and others, and your communication of those expectations to all of the people involved. So the power of clarity is that it helps us communicate to others what we are planning to do, how we're going to do it, and including how they can support us. Remember our What's Possible conversation from session 1. And so it enables everybody who's involved to kind of get on board, whether that's you and your family, your business, your community, or some not-for-profit organisation or charity that you're involved in, whatever part of your life that you want to get optimised outcomes from, getting clear about it is part of a very critical part of the process.
So how would they go about, can you explain a bit more about clarity and how we see things?
Beautiful. So I think there's 4 layers or 4 ways in which we go through to get to a position of clarity. The first is muddy. So this is literally when you're stuck, like if you're trying to walk through a river and your boots are stuck. You might end up leaving your boots behind, or you're certainly going to end up in a mess. So muddy is a stage where you think you know where you want to go, but you're kind of stuck where you are now. And the only way to get unstuck is to make some kind of massive movement. So if you're stuck in mud, you can't just kind of wriggle forward. You've really got to push yourself out. Now, the bad news for people is that sometimes that means some kind of disagreement, some kind of blow up, because something big has to shift to get out of the mud. The second step is cloudy. So this is like trying to swim in a river where there's so much stuff in the water, many particles in the water that you can't see where you're going. You're likely to bump into things, accidents can happen. So that the point around going from muddy to cloudy is we need to wash that through and make sure that we're focusing on the tiny points of clarity that we've got and bring those together so that we can push away the obstacles, the dirt, the stuff that's hanging around. Then we move to the third stage, which is clear. And clear sounds like it's the end of the journey, but it's the start of the clarity piece. So clear is, I now know where I am, I know where I'm going, and I can ask all of those what's possible questions that we talked about in the first session, as well as what's the best possible outcome for me now. So clear is great, but then there's one more step. If we can get to crystal, then we're really cooking. So there's two benefits about being crystal clear about something. And you know a lot about this, Linda, so I know I'm right in your space. With two elements of crystal, if you can get to crystal clear, then it creates a resonance. It creates an energy that attracts into your world the support that you need, the help that you need, and things just become much easier. And the second thing about crystal clear is that if you shine a light through crystal, it sparkles into a million different colours, all of the rainbows sort of thing. And so that means you have more options and more colour, more brightness in the ability to achieve your goal. So they're the 4 steps. We need to identify where we are and then take action to get us to the next level up, ideally aiming for that crystal clear at the top.
So that brings up a lot of questions for people, doesn't it? How do I get clear? How do I do that?
Yeah. So I think that there's 6 questions that we need to ask ourselves, and these are not new. Everyone's asked these questions in various circumstances before, but if you've got the clarity lens looking at these questions, we need to ask what I call the 5 W's and the H. So why, what, when, where, who, how.
Helen, can you tell us a little bit more about the power of those questions?
Excellent question, Linda. So the thing about those questions is that regardless of your goal, if you get everyone involved in that goal to answer all of those questions, then you'll have people enrolled in the process and they'll know how to support you or what their part of it is. So let's go through a couple of different examples. So the first question that you need to ask yourself or others involved is why? So this is actually the purpose question, which can actually be a very deep, long conversation about the purpose of why am I doing this. But at a lighter level, it's simply, why is this important to me now? Why do I want to take this on? Why is it going to be important to me in my life or in the life of the other people in my world? So the why question for yourself and for others is the important pivotal starting point. So then we go, why, what? What am I going to do? What is the outcome that I'm after? And what will be the benefit to myself or to whoever else in my life that it involves? So if it's a health goal, it might just be me, but the what might have a long-term ramification or benefit to my family or my community, etc. So why, what, when? So when is an important one in terms of the timeline. Is it urgent, has to be done now, rally people around and get going? Or is it something that's a longer term plan, which gives other people time to become involved, time to get educated, time to start learning how they're going to be part of this process? So the when is around timeline and urgency. So we've got what, why, what, when. The next one is who, which is who am I going to need on my team? So if you remember my story from the first session around my late husband's illness, the challenge of that was who do we need to get involved? And so we got friends and family at various levels. We had different medical teams. It was really about bringing a team around us to take us together on this journey. So we needed to know the who's. And then you need to enroll those people, engage them, make sure that they're as excited and interested in your goal as you are. Those great supporters can make a big difference to whether you achieve that or not. Then we have where, which is it all going to happen where I am now? Does it mean me having to move? And there's been some very interesting moves in people's businesses and lives in recent times. And so you can set a goal for here, or you can set a goal for over there. I'm going to do this where? I'm going to once I've moved over there, I'm going to be able to do this in this new location. Or is it a transitory thing? So my where at the moment is all about working from anywhere. I want to make sure in my coaching that I can reach my people wherever I am. And so that means I can live my lifestyle while still making a difference to individuals. So my where at the moment is anywhere in the world, as long as I've got internet coverage. And then the final step is how. And the how is all about What processes am I going to use? What steps am I going to take? How do I do this thing? Do I do it alone? Do I do it within a group, in a company, in a community? How do I want to make this happen? And the most important first step of that is, what's the best first step to get the best possible outcome?
Thank you, Helen. And for more about Helen Mack, we'll be back next time in the third in the series about optimising outcomes, and it's maximising our momentum. In the meantime, please go to her webpage and on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au for more information. And we'll see you after the break with another guest in the series. Welcome back, and now we have Con Nichols, property advisor and wellbeing advocate, and today's the third in our series about improving your environment to meet your lifestyle. Welcome back, Con.
Thank you for having me back. It's been a pleasure always to come show.
And today you're going to talk about more of the financial side of things, I believe.
Definitely, Linda. Look, the financial benefits is one of the biggest advantages in this particular category. And just imagine, mum and dad, they've got a massive house, all the kids have moved out, and the grandparents also moved on as well. And there you go, mum and dad, they've got a massive 5-bedroom property that literally, they hardly even go to any of the rooms apart from themselves. So by bringing the property down into a different level and finding a smaller property, that gives them the flexibility and the ability that they can gain financial benefit by having more equity in the house. Now, the same token also, if they don't earn any money on it, obviously there's a lot more pots to play around with. And of course, it's always in people's mind, now that we've got this extra cash, we can actually help the kids to buy themselves a house, or maybe one of the kids is getting married, so we'll help with a wedding, or you know what, that particular the holiday we always wanted to go with the hubby, we never get the chance to do it. But you know what? Now that we've got the extra cash, let's enjoy life to the fullest. And we found out that a lot of people are taking this massive advantage to do the things that they could not afford previously with the things they can do right now.
So you'd say that with the lifestyle, that means they can travel more, or whatever they...
Definitely. There's a lot of examples out there in the last few months that actually I've dealt with people out there that I actually downsized to a smaller home, and for example, going to a townhouse, a 2-bedroom townhouse, or a 3-bedroom townhouse, or a study sort of thing, that gives them still not as much space as before. That it was pointless, but it gives them more controlled environment on the living aspect. However, it gives them the extra money to get the holidays, to go and buy a new car, maybe even buy another investment property, or at the end of the day, depends on everybody's circumstances. There could be opportunity for them to reinvest in the share market, or it can be any possible investment proposal that they can be offered for them by their own financial advisor.
Oh, so you'd have people asking about that, and as you say, people could go to their own financial advisor to get the details of that. So, what other benefits financially would there be from the going into a smaller? Is there a change in the? Can they go to an area where maybe they're spending less on transport to places, or does it kick into it? Have you found?
Definitely. Look, Melbourne's growing, as we all know. I mean, for example, if you had a big house in Malvern, argument's sake, and you got your typical California bungalow, Victorian, and so on, that you've got your 4 bedrooms, your double lock-up garage, your living areas, and there's a lot of space you don't need, right? Now, that property, let's say it sells for $3 million, argument's sake. Now, they can go find a property or a townhouse, let's say areas like Bentley or Bentley East, or even for 3-bedroom townhouse, brand new, mind you, which means low maintenance, of course, that they can spend between 1.2 to 1.3. So technically, they've already got $1.4 to $1.6 million extra money that they can utilize it for their own good. Either they can go and create a new lifestyle by going and travel the world, or like I said before previously, or in a lot of cases, people do buy an investment property, and depends on the situations, on what they are eligible to get as far as the pension is concerned and so on. And let's face it, a lot of people they're very flexible with the income. So some other people may require the additional income to leave them the extra 20, 30 years, argument's sake. So, and what a great way to do is by having another outlet of income by having an investment property.
So Con, what would property advisors, as a sort of a first step in that regard, or a thing to look at in the financial area, what would you first suggest to our viewers?
Great question, Linda. I always say, when it comes to that question, do not rush. There's no hurry. At the end of the day, there's so many properties out there that you can choose and be more strategic about what you're going to do. For example, let's say you want to buy another investment property. Now let's locate the area. What area suits you and your needs. Now, we all know the further you go out in Melbourne, the cheaper they are. Yes, there are advantages and disadvantages. The biggest advantage obviously is the economical part, because they're a lot more cheaper and more affordable. The disadvantage will be more further out for traveling. But once again, remember, the people they're gonna buy an investment property, they don't have to travel there back and forwards, because it's a pure investment purposes. Let's call it a financial a tool. That's what it is, or a vehicle. So in this case here, example, there's a lot of properties out there that there's many people out there that sell new homes. My personal experience with a situation like that, find out where is your land, find out if that particular area that you're going to buy, what is the growth, what are the surround amenities. Because remember, the golden rule in real estate is always location, location, location. So it doesn't matter where you are. For example, let's pick an area like Murda, for argument's sake. Murda the last couple of years has been on a boom. They've even got a brand new railway station, for example, and their particular area or region has gone skyrocket. Now, we've got schools, we've got childcare centres, we've got nursing homes, we've got shopping centres, and now we've got railway line. That's a big plus for a potential tenant to rent that particular property. And at the end of the day, when you buy a rental property, it's the return that counts. B, that you're going to find a property, it's going to be newer property, which means you're going to eliminate all the maintenance. Because if we go back, for example, on an older home, you're still going to have the maintenance and you've got to look after it. So definitely there's a lot of people out there that can assist, but once again, make sure to pick the right person, and by doing so, interview them. Go around and have a look what they offer and compare it with someone else. Very simple.
Thank you, Con. And for more information on Con Nichols and improving your environment to meet your lifestyle, then please go to his webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And for now, we'll say bye-bye and we'll see you next week.